Hey, good morning from the Sacred Valley in Peru. I just feel like starting sharing about some topics I experience and learn about over the last 10 years. If you decide to drink ayahuasca, if you decide to go really deep into these other universal dimensions, to learn about energies, to learn about the universe, there might come moments on your learning journey again and again, and probably it's for our whole life, where we learn about a darker energies, lower frequencies. We learn about the light. We learn about all the colors in between and all the different powers and energies which come through the universe, which come through consciousness, which come through being a human. And when we open our perception and we learn more and more about that, we still have our human mind. We still have protective mechanisms. We still have projections. We still have ideas, and we still can create stories very easily. And that's all part of the experience. So yes, there are many different energies out there. And yes, humans have different intentions. And yes, the intention comes from a certain energy. Our intentions are rooted in a certain energy depending which work we have done before. How much are we aware about our own shadows? And we all have our own shadows, in my perception. And that's part of life. And I believe our planet is only moving the way it moves, and nature only grows the way how it grows, because there are all these different energies. And the question is, not to be scared, not to feed energies with fear and with projection and story creating. Then, certain things might happen. And it's there, And how do you anchor your intention? How do you anchor your thoughts? How do you anchor your mind? One of my dear maestras once said, you need to learn to put your mind in the energy of God. You need to put your mind in the hands of God, means in the energy of the God, of God, of the light, of the big light. And when we do this deep work and learning about all these energetically work, there come pruebas, there come tests, and that's also natural. That's also normal. If people start to go deeper with ayahuasca and Sama and Dieta, at some point they see brujeria and they see how they get attacked and they learn about all of that. And it's part of the learning. And then there comes a tricky point where I observe over the last 10 years, myself as well. I also went through that, and maybe I will go through that again. Who knows? That only God and universe knows. Maybe my higher self knows, but I'm not conscious about it. However, don't go in that. But there comes a tricky point when we learn about darker energies, and when we learn about when people, what does it mean when people work with bad intentions, how does that form and shift, certain things, and how can that create things? There comes, I believe, for almost everyone, really, there comes this moment when we think, oh, I'm getting attacked. Oh, I received brujeria. Oh, someone, is doing something bad to me. That's part of the learning, because we need to learn about these things globally, universally, and individually. And we need to learn about these things to understand more our human mind, and to understand more the big mind, the big consciousness out there, and all these little or big universes there, or energies, dimensions, where we can learn to differentiate. For me, the very important part why I'm sharing that is here. If you are in this learning experience, be very careful how you project on others, and be very mindful which story do you create, and you create a reality and a truth. And if you do that, how that affects your life, how that affects the life of others, especially the people who are you blaming. And it's all a learning, and just again and again remind yourself that maybe what you think is true might not be true. What you think is true might be one angle, but it's not the whole truth. And if you blame in this moment other people, what we as humans very quickly do, we project and blame on others, that it might be very harmful for the person who hasn't done anything bad, bad, you know, and it can get very messy. And I live in Peru where I'm a lot, you know, like since 10 years, I'm, you know, thousands of people I've facilitated with working in other bigger centers as well. And I live in Peru where many people experiment with the medicine, sometimes guided in an aligned way, sometimes less guided in an aligned way. And these projections are happening sometimes so quickly and so fast and so strong, and it can get very messy, and just I just want to send out invitation to really create space with life supportive energies. You know, the light and high frequencies energies you work with, to really reflect on your experience, you know, and to be open to continue your learning journey with it, because what you think in one moment is true might shift over months and years. Yeah, I just feel like sharing that because sometimes, you know, people are really caught up in these things, and it's not easy, you know, to go through that for the person, but also for the people who are involved in it. And yeah, choose well with who you work, choose well, you know, the people you work with, where they are anchored in, with which energies do they mainly work. And you know, the biggest thing is trust, you know, trust in your own capacity to anchor yourself and to learn with the plants, to anchor yourself in the God-made good energies. In the Raku Nötte in Shipibo, you know, with the Raku Nötte, with the Nötte Iboriusbo, and with the plants which are really, you know, helping you to be anchored in the light. That doesn't mean, you know, to bypass. No, I love to learn about dark energies. It's part of the universe, you know. But being anchored for yourself in light and in the good energies anchors you and protects you, so you can really deeply learn about other things. Yeah, okay, I'm stopping here. Lots of love. Mwah. Ciao, bye.